Okay, short update today. Didn't get any work done, but I've been busy. I had to. Oh, well, I went and picked up some parts for the truck. Some parts that I was a little bit concerned about getting, and turned out to be really easy to get, and that was our friends. The springs. These are the rear leafs, and I got a bunch of U-bolts as well. Tried them out on the truck. I haven't installed it. Of course, I just set it in place, but it looks to be the same. It's just lying on the axle there, which is why it's a little bit different. It's also a little bit higher because it actually has one more leaf. Checking with the guys from the spring shop, that was what they had in their book, was 6 leaves plus a bottom plate, and the original ones just had 5 leaves and a bottom plate. So it's entirely possible that somebody went and took them off, took one leaf off. Maybe they wanted a little bit softer ride in the back or something like that. I'm not sure. But you can see that the U-bolts that they had on here originally were a hell of a lot longer than they needed to be, and that's possibly why. You know, like they had, well, I guess it would have been only a 1/4 inch difference, but just the same. So there's part of that reason. So tomorrow's Friday, so I'm going to go by Home Depot and I'm going to pick up some bits and pieces, some bolts and some hose for the disaster of a pressure washer there. That's behind my oil pan there. And power wash this thing off. Then I'm going to pull the, I'm going to put the cross members back in and pull the axles out. And what power washing doesn't take off of here, I'll wire wheel off. Another good reason to go to Home Depot is to pick up some wire wheels. Canadian Tire as well, I suppose. Hardware store for anybody who's not from Canada. And clean both these up. The rear one is more kind of crusted up, and the front one is more oily because it was obviously right underneath the engine. You know, I actually managed to get the U-bolt out of the front intact as a replacement. But the rear one, I actually I snapped it right off on both of them. Right there, so it was a little bit crusty and needed repair, but a replacement, I should say. But no big whoops. So there we go. That's a $700-800 touch right there. 2 springs and some U-bolts. Anyways, one other thing came. I bought these used off of a guy in the States there from Florida, and they're a set of front caliper backing plates, and these are actually heavy stamped steel item that he sent me. He epoxy primed them at some point or another. Looks pretty close to the same color of epoxy that I've already got on the frame, so I haven't decided if I'm going to leave them that way or if I'll strip them and paint them again myself, just so that they are sure to match. That might be just being a little fussy. In any case, the only reason I got those was the as I ramble on and on and on. The driver's side one was fine. But it was a little bit furry looking. But the passenger side one, you can see right there, it's missing a big chunk out of it. Not sure what they did. I can't see it breaking, but I don't know why somebody had cut a big chunk out of the front of it there like that. And like, it seems to me more reasonable that somebody actually broke it. I won't really be able to tell until I pull it off whether or not it looks cut or broken. But in any case, they did some silly things on this caliper anyways. I couldn't figure out why this rotor was basically worn. You can actually see it right there. It's worn almost paper thin on the inside. The outside is pretty normal, but the inside is worn paper thin. And if you look closely, you can see they obviously didn't understand how calipers are supposed to work, how they're supposed to float and all. They hard bolted it to the inside, which probably gave them good braking until it wore away the pad. Hopefully that caliper is intact, or I might not get my core back. If it's worn through the pad and base plate, which is entirely possible looking at that rotor. I might be stuffed for a core on that side. So it's going to be, I don't know what that cost me, 25 or 50 bucks for a core. Oh, might almost be worth going to a salvage yard if I can find one. Front springs, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to replace, but I will have to get new shackles. You can see this one here is worn oval, pretty bad. I think this truck was beat pretty hard before I got it, and that's what tends to happen to old 4x4s. It's a sad fact. It's one good reason to spend a little bit of time and redo pretty much everything that makes sense redoing. So that's the update for today. There's our friend Tuffy the kitten, and she's inspecting my work. She's a shop cat who's apparently inspecting the tire. By the way, that took air. It was deflated the other day, but it seems to have taken air and is still holding it to some extent. So it'd still be good for tootling around the yard. I guess, like I said, next thing is get this frame ready, and then after that, clean up the axles, new springs on the back, and I suppose I'm rebuilding the front suspension as well. So there we go. Lift with your legs and not your back. Boy, I just pulled that spring back off again, and that thing is heavy. It's got to weigh easily over 100 pounds each. Pretty close to my limits of lifting. Probably not too impressive, but man, that thing is heavy. Wow. In any case, I'm going to probably hit these with a little bit of well, brake cleaner, I guess is the word I was looking for, to clean the grease off them, and I'll hit them with the same epoxy I've got on the frame, so that they'll all match and look all purty. Okay, so for a guy who didn't do anything other than drive out to Breslau today and pick up some springs, I got a lot to say today, but just babbling like crazy. I was going to show you, I had an idea. I ordered another set of parking brake cables from Rock Auto, and well, they looked correctly in the picture. The only thing I wasn't certain of was the length. The length doesn't seem to match, and I'm not sure how they're measuring it. If it's end to end, then I might be a little bit out of luck, because it's about 5 inches too short in that case. But I'll show you the ones that came from LMC, and I had an idea after the fact about something I can do with them. Yeah, here's the LMC one, and there's the original. Now you can see this end is pretty much the same. I'm assuming they're the same size. They look to be the same size. They're also pretty much exactly the same length from the ferrule, whatever you want to call it, at that end to the ferrule at that end. But obviously the fitting at this end is wrong, and it turns out I've got actually a half-ton two-wheel drive sitting behind my shop, and I had a look at this this fitting here, and this appears to be the two-wheel drive fitting. And I looked at it and I said to myself, I wonder if I could just machine something. Like I got a lathe, I got a friggin' milling machine that ended up being more of a parking ground for some stuff right now. Why not manufacture something out of some some bar stock or something like that, just a fitting for this, and then I can use these and see how it goes. So I'm going to wait until I get the stuff from Rock Auto, and if it doesn't work, then I've got another option here with these ones, because they for sure are very close, certainly within half an inch of the correct length. It's just a question of fabricating a fitting that would adapt it to the back of the brake plate. Now, so we'll wait and see how that one goes.